Good morning, students. Let us start our second unit, second lecture. We have started yesterday new unit on conducting materials, and we have just revised the properties of conducting materials. What are the important properties of conducting materials? Conductivity, resistivity. We have just seen what are the definitions, units. We also discuss factors affecting on the resistivity, temperature, what is the effect of temperature, what is positive temperature coefficient of resistance, what is negative temperature coefficient of resistance, how alloying changes the resistivity, cold work, age hardening, all these factors we have discussed. Then also I told you the important properties of conducting material, electrical properties, mechanical properties, economical properties. And if we'll say that some conducting materials or the good conducting conductors, so what is it meant by good conductor? So that also we have seen in terms of the properties only. And then we have started studying various conducting materials. Out of that high conductive materials, I told you solders we have discussed, and I told you the materials used for solders. Now today I will just show you one video so that you can understand the process of soldering. It is not important, but if you want to remember materials required for solders, you must know what is soldering and how it is done. Okay, so that will help you to memorize solder materials very easily. We have just seen there are two types of solders, soft solders and hard solders, and melting point lower than 400 as the name implies, soft. And as that will be hard soldering materials, they will withstand high temperature, 400 degree, above 400 degree. So we discussed what are the hard solder materials, soft solder materials. Generally tin and lead is used, okay, for the soldering. You might have seen soldering gun also. So tin and lead for soft solders. But if it is hard soldering materials, copper and zinc alloys are used. Okay. Sometimes iron and steel, brass is also used. Okay. So let us see, watch the YouTube uh, so that you can understand it. So just you have watched the video, now you have understood about the soldering process, and now you can understand what will be the characteristics required for soldering materials, because it is required to heat and just melt and then join the two materials. So that soft soldering, it should just melt easily, and then when jointing joints will be formed, then it should be sturdy. So sometimes silver coating materials are also used. Okay, because oxidization should not happen. Resistance, contact resistance should be less, because as you are joining two wires, then resistance of that contact wires will be high. So whatever soldering materials you are using, resistance should be very less. So many times silver coating is also used. Okay, and then we also discussed about the contacts. I told you switch, when you will operate a on and off switch, then so many times it will withstand means wear and tear, then spark is produced, it has to withstand that spark. Temperature melting point should be very high, so that also we have discussed. Now just I want to show you video about the contact so that you can understand the materials required. Okay? So just see switches, in the switches contacts are there. अगं किती वेळ तुला सांगितलं माझं लेक्चर चालू आहे, तू काय आहे ते मेसेज टाक ना, लेक्चर चालू आहे माझं. हा. Which materials are used for contacts? Because our objective is to study the materials used for making solders and contacts. So contacts as opening closing is occurring number of times. It should withstand mechanical wear. Corrosion because oxidation will be there as heating will be frequent heating will be there, then oxidization will be there. So corrosion means resistance to the oxidation should be very large. Corrosion resulting from oxidation should be less. Then chemical reaction should be avoided. Such a material is required which will not form chemical reactions. Okay. And then corrosions from fusing evaporation and wear of the working surface during service is required. So which materials are used for contact? Pure metals: copper, molybdenum, nickel, palladium, platinum, silver, tungsten, and silver alloys. Silver is popularly used wherever you just want to avoid oxidation and you want to have less contact resistance. Silver is popularly used. Okay. So then heterogeneous mixtures of carbon, tungsten, silver, and silver tungsten carbide is also used, which are withstanding high temperature, less oxidation, less corrosion. Therefore, such materials are preferred for the electrical contacts. Okay. This video I think you have seen just now. Now, which are the materials of high resistivity? We'll see that materials of high resistivity later on. Let us study first basic conducting materials. High conducting materials means low resistivity materials we'll study first, and then we'll see high resistivity materials. Okay. So popularly used in electrical applications is copper. Now what are the properties of copper? So if you'll see, copper is very costly, and you might be knowing that copper is just thefts are happening for the copper, because reselling value of copper is very good. So generally you just see wherever copper is used in outdoor, theft is occurring. So copper is a pure material, means having, you can just see, pure copper is popularly used, and it is one of the last conductors of electricity, and its conductivity is highly sensitive to impurities, because silver and gold is having higher conductivity than copper, but it is not affordable, silver and gold. So copper is the last. means it is the topmost material. It is reddish and brown in color. Nowadays copper bottles are coming, so you might have seen that material. So it is reddish brown in color. It is malleable and ductile. So already I told you, for conductors it is required to just have proper shape drawn into the wire. So it should be ductile and malleable also. It can be welded at red heat. Welding should be possible because jointing has to be possible. Then when you are just winding it to some another terminus, it should be flexible also. Then it is means it is highly resistant to corrosions, oxidations and pitting. Melting point 1084. Boiling point is also 1084, and specific gravity of copper is 8.9. Electrical resistivity is 1.682 microohm centimeter, and tensile strength varies from 3 to 4.7 tons per centimeter square. So tensile strength of copper is also good. Resistivity is very less. Specific gravity. All these figures you have to remember. So again, like insulating materials, you prepare a chart for these conducting materials. Then you can remember all the characteristics very easily. Otherwise, it is not difficult to understand, but difficult to memorize. And memory map will help you. Mind map, you know how to draw mind map. So draw mind maps, or for this unit, you use simple mind map in tabular form, comparison form. So that will be good. Okay. So copper forms important alloys like bronze and gunmetal. It has high current density. Current density is high because resistance is small. This current will be very high. So current density is high. It is having low specific resistance. Then metal is quite homogeneous. You can just see the structure of copper. It is homogeneous. It is durable and has a high scrap value. What I told you, it is resold and theft is happening. That is due to the scrap value. Scrap value means what? Once you will use that, then you can just resell it, scrap. So moderate to high strength and hardness. Your workability is easy. You can work very easily with copper wires, both in primary and secondary operations, fabrications. Then high electrical and thermal conductivity, have non-magnetic property. This is also important because if conducting material is magnetic material, then it can create the problems in your device operations. So copper is not magnetic material, but steel, if you will use, sometimes steel is a conducting material, then it will be magnetic material also. So it will increase complications in your device performations. Superior properties at subnormal temperature. Okay, means if you will see the temperature, we have seen resistance varies with the temperature, but if you see subnormal temperature, its property is very good. Okay, then it is ease of finishing by polishing and painting. Means whatever you will construct, like a bar conductors you will construct, or some conductor shape you will give. So polishing is very easy, finishing easy, painting on copper is also easy if required. Enamel painting is done, you just know, because you have to insulate that conductor. So paint are generally used to insulate the conductor. So painting is also easy on copper. It is good, excellent machine ability. So when you want to use machine, pressing is required, some machine ability is very good. Okay, excellent resistance to fatigue, abrasion and wear. So if conductor will bear, means if it will possess, it will have fatigueness to the material, abrasion, wear, it will have very good resistance to all this. Okay, so copper is popularly used. Relative ease of joining by soldering, brazing and welding. Because jointing you just have seen, soldering, brazing, welding is also possible in case of copper. It is available in wide variety in forms and tempers. Availability is also good for copper. Internal conductivity is this, and temperature coefficient of resistance is this. Okay. So you can just read the properties. Read yourself properties.